Hi, I'm Savannah, and this is my 2024 reading wrap up. So, first, I'm going to start off with I read 102 books this year. Um, I think I mainly read fantasy and mystery, but maybe not, I don't know. But I'll start with my top 5 favorite books. So, the first one is probably one of my favorite books, possibly of all time, but it's The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I love this book so much. It's like, I love the story, I love the characters, I love like the ideas that go into it. And if you don't know, this book is basically a girl makes a deal with like the devil, and then she has immortality, but everyone who meets her forgets her. So that's what this book is, and it's definitely one of my favorites. And I would highly recommend if you want like a realistic fantasy. My next one, these aren't the rest of them, at least aren't in like a particular order. Probably aren't in a particular order. But yeah. So this book, if if only I had told her, by Laura Nolan. So this book is the sequel to If He Had Been With Me, which I also read this year, but I actually enjoyed this one, the sequel, more than the first one. It gave 3 different point of views for like the story or what happened right after the end of the last book, and I really like those different point of views. It's one of the first books I actually annotated. So yeah, this was another one. I would definitely recommend the series. I will say it was hard for me to get into the first book, but it was worth it for the second one. Sorry, this book is like a young adult romance, kind of a sad romance. So the next one is a little weird, I guess. It's Poison for Breakfast by Lemony Snicket. Um, so this book is short, but I love it. I love Lemony Snicket's like writing style and everything. Like especially when I was younger, I read like all of his different series, like Series of Unfortunate Events, All Their Own Questions, and he's definitely one of my favorite authors. So Poison for Breakfast is kind of like a list of, almost like it's like he's like rambling on about stuff for the whole book. If you don't like Lemony Snicket, you will probably hate this book. But if you do like Lemony Snicket, or if you do like kind of weird ideas and stuff, not super weird, but like a little weird being put into one book, I would definitely recommend. This book, I don't know how to explain the plot. It's kind of like he thinks he had poison for breakfast, so he walks around town and has thoughts, and then he writes about those thoughts. So I would recommend if you like that type of writing, but I don't know, if you aren't sure you like it, you probably won't like it. Okay, the next one is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love this book. I actually listened to it on audiobook first, and they had like different people like speaking, like they had different actors for each character, and I really love that. Or at least they had different voices for each character. Um, but the written version also, I didn't read the whole thing yet, but from what I did read, it would be really good too. But I would definitely say the audiobook is great. So if you're not sure if you want to read it, I might recommend starting with the audiobook at least, because it's just, the audiobook is amazing. It's just so good. But yeah, I've only read the other, I've only, I've only ever read one other book by her, and that was The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. That one was really good too, but I think I preferred this one overall. Okay, I'm going to talk about some like my least favorite books of the year, and so a lot of these I don't actually have copies of, because either I got them from the library or I used to have them and then I gave them away because I had no interest in keeping it or ever reading it again. So I just was like, bye. But one of them I think I have, but I'll put the pictures up here. Okay, so the first one is a book called The 11th Plague. It is about this guy who, okay, so it's like about this guy who's in a dystopian world, um, and then he joins like this little town or community, and it's kind of about that. And I hated this book. I felt like the plot sucked, the characters sucked. I just hated it. I used to have it, but I don't anymore. I think it was only like 200 pages or so, and I could barely get through it. I only finished it because I'm like, I just want to finish this book because it's not even that long. But it was painful, and I would never recommend it. So, yeah. So the next book is The Secret Life of Cows by Rosamund Young. This book, it was like a short little book about the cows on her family's ranch. Um, Honestly, I thought it was boring and it wasn't written very well, which is kind of sad because I kind of hoped it would be, at least like a sweet, like a nice little look into her life or the cows' lives or whatever. I didn't have very high expectations from it, but this book couldn't even meet those, so I was kind of disappointed. Um, so yeah, I really wouldn't recommend it, but there you go. Okay, so the next one I also don't have a copy of, but it's We Were Liars by, I think it's Lockhart. I don't remember. I'll put it up here. I had hopes and dreams for this book. I had expectations. Maybe I set my expectations too high, but like all of them failed. All of them. It was not enjoyable. I don't think I enjoyed it at all. The setup wasn't great. The characters weren't great. The plot seriously sucked. The writing was mid. Like it didn't do anything. It was so, and then the ending was just disappointing, and it just felt like it wasn't even done well. And so I would definitely not recommend it, even though I saw it everywhere and I was like, whoa, this will probably be great. It was not. It was not great. Anyway, the next one is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. So I definitely didn't have the highest expectations for it, but I was expecting to be a little bit better than it was. Because I did not enjoy it at all. Like, maybe, I don't know why, but I just thought it was it was definitely overhyped, but also it felt like it was somebody who was writing it didn't really know what they were talking about. I definitely couldn't have written it better, but I'm just saying I feel like someone else could have written it better, and I feel like the characters themselves fell kind of flat. They didn't do as much development as I would have liked. They weren't like seeming to have intellectual like thoughts and such. I don't know, but I just thought that there were so many more opportunities for it to be improved, and they weren't, and there was not that great of a plot or anything. So I definitely was not a huge fan. I think I gave this book maybe like 2 stars, maybe 1.5. So I was not a huge fan. The next one is To Kill a Kingdom, and this is probably the saddest one because I love like pirate stories. At least I thought I did, but I thought I loved pirate stories, and this was kind of pirates and sirens. I love sirens. I would love to be a siren. Like, I love sirens, but this book was, the plot was not great. The characters, I was expecting like some, maybe like at least in the romance section, like a little bit of banter, a little bit of something, a little bit of something. There was nothing. Like, there was just nothing to hold on to. It felt like the plot. I think I already said this, but no, like, just stop. It felt like a book that I had seen happen. I don't know if I had, but like it just felt repetitive or something. Like, it was just very disappointing. So I would not recommend it. Sorry. The concept is cool. I love the idea. It's just the execution sucked. So I don't know. Okay. So the month I read the most in this year was November. That was crazy. I think I read. Let me check. I read all the books I read in here. Which is fun. Totally would recommend doing that. 14. So in November, I read 14 books, which was definitely a lot, and I did read an insane amount in November. Yeah, I really did read a lot in November. And I think the biggest thing was I reread the Shadow Me series, which was that 6 books. So 6 books that I enjoyed and read very quickly, and I knew I would enjoy, so that really helped. But I also was just reading a lot during that month. The month I read the least in was probably January. This is because I wasn't counting any of the books I read in January, or I didn't start counting the books I read until February. And so I wasn't really trying to read. I didn't have any goals, so I was just reading whenever, whatever, like just whatever. So I think I only read 3, maybe 4 books. That was But then months where I had like the goal of reading like 8 or 9 books and I didn't would be July, where I only read 5, which is like still a lot. But it was less than I was hoping. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.